Most AI tools operate without a real time picture of who a customer is or what they need next. That means they lack purchase history, engagement signals, or intent to act on. But what if you had an AI agent that had all of that and was connected to the workflow where your marketing actually happens? Welcome to One Amazing Thing About Klaviyo. Today we're talking with Gil Hsu, product manager leading marketing AI at Klaviyo, and he's going to be sharing one amazing thing about Klaviyo Composer with us today. Gil, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Greg, thanks for having me on. Now, for the second time, I got to keep making these appearances.
I know, returning champion here. So yeah, looking forward to seeing something else here. Before we do though, and for those that didn't catch last time you were on the show, why don't you give a little background on yourself and your role at Klaviyo?
Yeah. So for myself, product manager here at Klaviyo, leading marketing AI, building the next generation of agentic marketing products. And yeah, largely these days, I spend my time thinking about the intersection between marketing and AI, and then specifically around how Klaviyo and its rich database of customer information has unfair advantages to win in this space.
Nice, love it. And so we're going to take a look at Composer today. Why don't you, before you share your screen, why don't you tell us, what does the product do, and who's the audience, and why is it important to them?
Sure. Yeah. So Composer is Klaviyo's new flagship AI product that was actually just announced into public beta a couple weeks ago at K London, which is our big event in London. And it's basically a in-app first-party AI marketing agent. It knows everything about your account data. It knows everything about your customers within the Klaviyo account, and it also knows marketing. We've built it to understand marketing out of the box. And then specifically, because it's Klaviyo's product, it just knows what all the features are, where all the buttons are. So as it's not only giving you strategic advice, it gives you actual real actionable advice as to how do you actually do a thing. So we're really excited about this product that we've shipped now with a lot of usership in these first few weeks. And yeah, excited to demo.
Love it. Yeah, let's take a look. Why don't you share your screen?
Okay, great. So here we are in the Klaviyo account. And right here in this upper right hand corner, there's a new shimmering star. And this basically opens up our brand new Composer experience. And the Composer experience can do a lot of things. It can do anything from auditing flows, which are our automations product, to generating campaigns, to auditing segmentation, and just generally getting a better understanding of your marketing program overall. And so I'm going to be doing a couple different demos here. We've got a lot of utilities within Composer, but I'm going to be doing two specific things. One is I'm going to be showing how we do, how Composer can do flow auditing or automations auditing, just basically showing you all the sort of nooks and crannies within your automations program, which can get a little bit unwieldy over time, and then also showing you how we can generate campaigns with basically simple prompts, and how that basically will be allowed will help agencies or customers be able to create campaigns at scale, especially as we think about personalization and making things more custom for each customer. These are the kind of tools that people will soon have or soon be really good at using to be able to build personalization at scale. So there's a lot of like themes coming together that Composer will be able to help with.
Great.
So first off, we're going to go and do an audit of flows. So we see this here in the right-hand panel for Composer. We can also see that this account has a number of automations here. Everything from, let's let this load. Okay, so we have a number of different flows related to different channels, A/B testing, everything from abandoned cart to placed order and so forth. These are sort of, normal marketing automations that one might have. And so through what is a number of these automations, it can be pretty difficult to understand exactly what every automation does, especially as, owners of these marketing programs come and go, or just because there's a sheer number of automations, it's hard to see how all the automations overlap. So this is where Composer really shines. So you can open up Composer and you can do something as simple as, let's get this to load. You can do something called audit my flows. So you click this button and it's kicking off a pre-built job that we have sort of out of the box. Is a kind of like a pre-built prompt, basically, you can think of. And it's doing a very specific thing. It's walking over all the automations within this account, looking over not only the structural data, meaning how was all these flows built, but also the performance data across all of those flows and the nodes within those flows. And it comes back with a particular phrasing of what an audit is, but customers will be welcome to make or customize what the audits are or what they prefer audits to be like in the future. But so let's take a look at what this audit came back with. So in this Terraza account, we've got 21 live flows that are fully audited. Seems like setup around broad lifecycle coverages actually has some issues around several high traffic flows. There's some risks around welcome SMS and competitor sites. So high level, some things to look at. It calls out things that are going well, these welcome series, review requests for Klaviyo reviews, abandoned cart, these seems to be doing okay. But then is starting to flag some issues, particularly around what I mentioned for gaps and overlaps across these across all of these multitude of flows. So it says things like abandoned cart versus abandoned checkout seems to have overlapping triggers, or post-purchase and nurture thank you exists, but no dedicated cross-sell. So there's an opportunity here that we see as a gap. So being able to, at any time, ad hoc, be able to do an audit and uncover these gaps and overlaps is like incredibly powerful, especially as the automation program grows. And in this last little piece of what our pre-built audit does, it gives you a stack rank list of things that you can be doing right now that we think are the sort of most ROI for your time, let's call it, that will impact your existing flows program. So in this case, the first one here that's critical, it's like, well, let's update this WhatsApp welcome series, rewrite the body, open the URL, et cetera, et cetera. And so, at this point of like the demo, I always tell folks that I show that, the audit itself, while great, while very powerful, is really not the thing here. It's the fact that you now have a agent, an AI directly in your account
Yeah.
that you can ask any question to. So what that basically means is you now have the opportunity to have a conversational relationship with your data. So if you could ask any question about your data, what would you ask? Well, let's take some of these. Let's say, for example, there's a recommendation here that you don't totally understand. So you could say something like, you gave me this I don't understand why that's important. uh, explain it to me. So because this is not just an out of the box LLM that you might see from other sort of frontier model providers, so we've trained Composer, our AI, specifically on marketing, and then it understands your account too. So
Yeah.
through that context, you can ask these type of questions without saying, you're a senior marketer with X many amount of years of experience and you're trained on X and Y and Z. It already is like that out of the box. And so it can give you guidance and context as to why this is a problem, how you might fix it, and just generally get confidence between this gap of AI tells me something. Do I understand what AI is saying? And is that enough for me to actually do a thing? And so we have this built in, and we see that as one of the biggest differentiators with what Composer can do. And then just one last nugget here. Okay, let's say through all this explanation, you say, okay, you convinced me. Convinced me. Tell me why. Oh, no. Uh, give me step by step instructions on how to fix this. So again, because this is our AI built on top of our system, it
Yeah.
knows where every setting is, where every button is, and then can just give you very specific guidance on how to do a thing. And now you have that sort of ad hoc ability to find how to change that one little setting that's hidden behind 3 or 4 clicks and then get to the thing. And so now we'll actually say that this is an early version where we're just sort of giving guidance. Eventually, this is where we become like agentic world, is that Composer will be able to propose the solution for you, not tell you how to do it yourself. Instead, here is what the fix is. Would you like me to do it for you? You can either accept it,
Mm.
reject it, or maybe if you want to hedge, you could accept it as a test give it to 5% of your customers, and you just simply do the thing. Very similar to say like Google Docs, somebody giving you a suggestion, and you can say accept it, right? And
Yeah.
so now all of a sudden you have this ability to really move quickly in terms of there's a problem here, let's go ahead and fix it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll just say just a couple more things here in terms of like for use cases, especially on like the auditing side where we see there's a lot of room to grow with people not really knowing, um, sort of like seeing around corners with how to optimize their marketing program. This is the biggest thing that we get asked at Klaviyo. It's, what could I be doing better? And
Yeah.
so this auditing is one of the solutions. But another thing that we could do, for example, is you could say, I only have a couple hours to work on my flows. What's the more important thing that I can be working on right now? And instead of having to know all the issues and then select the most important one, it can just give you the most important ones. And not only that, it like gives you approximately how much time it thinks it'll take for you to do that thing. So really, really great there. And then just like moving, kind of switching gears a little bit, I wanted to show the create side.
Yeah.
So we know that for customers of all sizes, that creation of campaigns is a laborious task. Whether it be you wanted to do original content, original copy, and then thinking about segmentation. Well, if we were to do something like wanting to generate, let's say, an omni-channel campaign, I have this prompt preloaded, I think here, where you could say something like, create an omni-channel campaign using email and SMS and send this pair of messages to each of my top two segments. So the marketing campaign should have 4 messages total. Include the top selling product and a 20% promo and have the copy and content focus on 4th of July. Schedule the emails to go out Friday and the SMS to follow up 2 days later, right? So it's like a pretty specific prompt, but certainly a lot easier than actually doing the work. So you could put that in there. And then I'd say, like any good cooking show, I've already got the outputs pre-baked.
Right.
So I have this example here. It's the same prompt, and here's the output. So you have a preview where you can actually go. This is actually what we call a pre-draft phase, where it's not actually a draft message yet. This is still like you're going back and forth with the AI. And so what we're seeing here is, okay, we've got two segments. We've got VIP customers and we've got repeat buyers and engaged subscribers. You actually see this is the non-VIPs. And then we've got 2 messages for each, email and SMS, email and SMS. And then we have them starting from Friday, starting at noon, and then following up on 2 days later. And better than that, you can click on any one of these. You'd see that it has subject line, preview, has the audience lined up. And actually, this is a pretty good email. And you can continue to hone in terms of like design and content, but it's
Right.
pulling from the customer's account, their brand assets. And then for things that are net new, we can actually generate images and certainly copy on the fly. But not only do you get this desktop view, you also get mobile view. You can go back here and look at your SMS and see how it would preview on iOS and Android. And when it's finally ready, you say, you've done all the back and forth with AI. You can click this button. This is demo count, so we don't have it enabled here, but you can create and edit the campaign, which turns it into
Mm.
a draft campaign, which gives you all the sort of normal levers that you can do to modify your campaign in Klaviyo. And so we
And
see that as still human in the loop. We'll get you 85% of the way there. And then you're kind of there to just, bless everything at the very end and then actually schedule. So just a couple examples here, two of many utilities that are within Composer, but just really excited about this sort of new age of marketing AI, and then specifically how Klaviyo has really put a very opinionated lens on what marketers can do with AI.
yeah, yeah, this is great. And so, to go back to the first part of what you were talking about, I mean, as you were talking it through, I was, in my head, I was thinking, well, what would it take to copy and paste all of that information into some other frontier model and do all, and I think just lots of, not only from a time perspective, it would take a lot of time, but also just from I think there's a cognitive load part that's, you have to kind of keep track of like, well, what does it need to know that that Klaviyo in this case has in it versus man, you can just chat with it and ask all the questions and it knows. So, I think just from that, from so many levels, from my standpoint, it lets a human actually be more strategic and stop thinking about, well, okay, how do I get this information out of one thing and into another, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think there's so much lift involved from, yeah, you describe it as copy and pasting, but it's basically like context management, right? It's to
Right.
say, here are all the things that, organically live in either in this account or maybe you have other connections for, analytics data or
Right.
content in Canva or Figma. And then you're saying, okay, well, consolidate all this information somewhere else and then push it back again
Yeah.
into the actual execution services.
Yeah.
And so I will say, like, for some very sophisticated users, they're certainly doing that, but they're able to do that because they have really strong opinions. I think the lion's share of folks, they just want it to work. And so we have it in such a way that there's a term in AI called the harness, which is basically an opinion of what AI should be doing. We've built that specifically around marketing and specifically around how Klaviyo works. But I would even say though that even if you were to you were very capable in terms of pushing context into these frontier LLMs, there's still going to be a major difference. And that difference is you can only push your data to
Mhm.
these third-party LLMs.
Yeah.
The benefit of being part of Klaviyo is that it sits on top of what we call the Klaviyo database, and that is this sort of it's our B2C CRM that has all this context on not only your customers, but an aggregated view on what's best practices per industry, per product type. And so as you're trying to get guidance, help me build a, on brand, on trend content or imagery that
Yeah.
pulls from our aggregate data. And so you're just not going to get that anywhere else. So this is
Yeah.
again why I said at the top, like we have a very unique right to win in this space.
Yeah. Love it. Well, Gil, always love having you on here and seeing amazing things from you and Clavio. For those that want to learn more, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, I'd say, certainly klaviyo.com for all the things. If you're specifically interested in Composer, it's klaviyo.com/composer. Yeah, give it a try.
Love it. Well, again, I'd like to thank Gil Hsu, product manager leading marketing AI at Clavio, for joining the show. You can learn more about Gil and Clavio by following the links in the show notes.